As you must. Confess! The Last Duel. Rated R.
Happy birthday, dear.
Thank you.
Talk about the one movie.
Yes, The Last Duel. It was, interesting, to say the least.
Intense.
Very intense. Although the first 2/3 of it was, a bit boring. It literally felt like, this is how it happened. Do, 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 do. Now it's from this point of view. Do, 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 do. And now it's from the lady's point of view. The truth. Do, 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 do.
I didn't mind that aspect too much because I've seen movies like Rashomon where it would be a case where they'd show event from one point of view and then from the other point of view, and then they'd show what actually happened. I kind of like that kind of thing because it allows you to piece the parts together.
Yeah.
Because you're given this puzzle of a mess, and you're just thinking to yourself, well, what's real? What's not real? And when you see how it all clicks together, it's like, oh, it makes much more sense. Because there's some scenes that play out so much differently in other scenes that when you actually do see the full context, it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It all makes perfect sense. And I like stuff like that, but it didn't really,
well, it kind of worked in this movie, but it just kind of dragged out too much. I think that was my problem with it, and especially seeing Matt Damon's character from his point of view and then the other point of view, they weren't much different. I'd say his point of view, he wasn't as whiny, but he was still unlikable.
It's kind of the case of the Wallace and the Carpenter, the two that eat a bunch of oysters, and you're trying to find who is the more sympathetic, and the answer is no.
I think the movie, for me personally, just would have worked better if it was just from the truth point of view the entire time.
Like it was like a linear kind of telling?
Yeah, because the wife was the most likable character out of the three. And it's like,
she was the most sensible, too.
Yeah, it's like, why couldn't the movie be completely focused on her? It was based off of a true event.
Yep.
And thankfully, this true event did have... Well, I'm not sure how much the movie differs from the true event, but they did do this is what happens after the credits thing.
Yeah.
So it was nice that things turned out okay.
I should say that I actually do have the website pulled up right here. Now we're in a Spielberg movie. Oh no. Let's see here.
Oh, too bad we're not in 3D.
What a shame. Let's see here. So apparently,
the movie literally says it's based off of a... I'm making fun of the website.
I know. So apparently, the Matt Damon character did have a marriage prior to... what's her name? Magette.
Yeah.
Okay. Ben Affleck's character was a real person.
I didn't realize that was
It took you a while until they did the second thing.
Which is funny, because I remember seeing the trailer and remember them even showing him in the trailer, but, it'd been a while since I saw the trailer, so I forgot who was in it. So when they were showing his character, I'm like, that guy looks naggingly familiar. Who is that guy? And then I'm like, oh my God, that's Ben Affleck! He did a good job, though.
He was really good in this. Everyone was giving the 100%. Okay, so Jean, Matt Damon's character, and Jacques, Adam Driver, they were both friends and later became rivals.
Yeah.
Apparently they joined the court circle of their new overlord, played by Ben Affleck, and their friendship deteriorated when the cat began to favor Jacques Legris, Adam Driver character, and overlooked Matt Damon's, the person he's betraying.
Yeah.
So apparently Adam Driver brought in more money and was educated, made him more valuable to the court, so that he was rewarded with services on the court newly purchased estate. Okay, so that explains the whole debacle between why they're going after that piece of land.
And because this is based off of a true story, we can spoil the movie.
Can we?
Yeah, we can. It's based off of a true story, so you guys can't say, "Oh, you're spoiling it," because it's based off of a true story.
Yeah, it was based off of a book too, which is kind of interesting. Oh, hey, it was also a documentary for BBC4.
Oh,
That's
nice.
kind of nice. Why don't you know about Country Fried Turkey from Cracker Barrel? Let's see here. Okay, so the charge thing, that was true. Oh, here's something. Did Squire... Blah, blah. The truth whether the Squire Jacques raped Maguette is unknown, has been a subject of debate among historians and jurists. It was mostly certainly an eyewitness to the duel, recorded his thoughts in case of the personal notebook. On the off chance, I'm glad to see how it all ended, given what we just saw.
Yeah.
Oh, fact. A woman in that era and the only witness Maguette's claim didn't carry much weight. Okay, so that explains why the court was like that. It's a good thing we live in modern times.
Yeah,
I know we rag on about it, but it's like,
modern times still has its issues, but women do have are better treated in this time. I mean, it's not perfect, but compared to what we just saw in this movie, it's pretty much like, oh, if your husband dies, we're going to strip you naked, chop all your hair off, and then slowly burn you alive.
Which sadly was part of the truth.
And thankfully that did not happen to her, because I hated I hated
both of them, to be honest.
Well, I liked Adam Driver's...
They were both douches in their own way.
Well, I liked Adam Driver's character up until he raped her, and then I didn't like him anymore. So literally, while we're watching the fight scene, the actual fight scene, I'm like...
Let's go, douchebag. Let's go.
Because it's like, they're both douchebags, but I want him to win, not because I like him, but because I don't want his poor wife to, die a brutal death.
Yeah, I'm just quoting here. The idea was that if her husband lost the duel, the outcome would prove that Maguette was guilty of perjury, meaning that her claim that she was raped would be considered a lie, and then she'd be immediately burned at the stake.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they would definitely, I'm so glad we don't live back in, like, that time. Yeah. I mean,
Depiction of the duels, alright.
Yeah.
Was King Charles VI present? Yes, he was.
Yeah, they did a pretty, aside from that hairstyle.
Oh, yeah. The Matt Damon night mullet.
My God, that was so...
He rocked that mullet.
That was so...
Let's see here. According to the book, she was present at the duel, but in the personal notes of Adam Driver's character's lawyer, who was likely an eyewitness, he states that the wife was brought in a cart and swiftly sent back by order of the king. Therefore, it's unlikely if she saw the duel that he places her even closer for dramatic effect, which plays out fine.
Well, yeah, because they not only have her at the duel, they have her literally in the chamber that they're going to possibly burn her alive in. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, yeah, we're just going to remind you that if your husband loses, you're dead.
Yep. All right. Just trying to look for, like, the more important stuff, because I'm a little curious. Did the real-life duel unfold like it does? No, there are 5 contemporary historical texts that describe the duel. In the movie and book, the battle begins with a joust. All right. In the less reliable text, contemporary of the two, he states that the two men jousted for the first engagement, but nothing was forfeited. His book that contained the account was published in 1390, less than 4 years after the duel took place. He heard the story later from unknown sources. Fiction. Okay, so most likely it probably did not contain a joust. I'm just skimming through this because I don't want to lose battery here. Axe fight is unlikely to have encountered. Lots of bummers. That was a really cool axe fight. Spoiler alert, they did not kill each other's horses during the duel. I'm trying to look for the big thing here.
Big thing?
The outcome.
Oh.
Let's see. Duel to the end with daggers. No, not according to historians and observers who chronicled the duel. Oh, yeah, there's a nice illustration.
Huh.
Looked like 2 stormtroopers going at it. Okay, so that was not likely to have happened, but still, even then. Okay, so that did happen.
Well, that makes sense.
Oh, okay, so that makes sense. So, spoiler if anyone cares. Adam Driver's character dies. Sorry, not sugarcoating
Well,
it.
I think they figured that out when
Yeah.
the
It's just so intense because
Yeah.
if you don't know what happens, you're still at the edge of your seat. It's like watching a Rocky fight, but with blood and
Yeah.
swords.
And we didn't brush up on the historical story of
No.
this before watching this movie, so I'm like, is it going to be one of these movies where it's going to be super accurate and it doesn't have a happy outcome, or are they going to make it have a happy outcome and then we're going to find out that...
That's what I was trying
Yeah.
to find out. So yeah, the happy outcome did happen. Apparently, Legree's lifeless body was reported and taken to the gibbet, a structure of gallows from which dead or dying bodies were hung for public display. Historical rendering of the gibbet at Montefaucon is displayed below. His body was hung from chains, or it was left to rot for the next several months as a reminder of the fate of rapists, liars, traitors, so forth and so forth. Oh, that's why they do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was held in France. They must be excited to see Halloween Kills.
Yes.
Gaga's victory at the duel allowed him to rise financially and professionally. Okay. Okay, accuracy. In order to determine the overall accuracy of Last Duel, we have to look at the accuracy of the author Eric Jagger's book on which the movie was based. We know various parts of his book are fiction. In the author's notes, he admits as much, stating, where the historical record is silent, I use my own invention to fill in some of the gaps. Based on the most
makes
reliable...
sense.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta make it interesting somehow, as long as you respect the source and the details. Based on most reliable medieval accounts describing the duel, the movie's version bears little resemblance to those historical texts. Jean de Coquelis and Jacques de Legris almost certainly did not joust, nor did they kill each other's horses. There's also a mention of any axe fight. Much like how the story of the duel itself seems to have been embellished over the years, the lengthy climactic duel in the movie and book draws from those accounts and is certainly dramatized for dramatic effect. So basically what it's saying is the outcome is true, but it's not like straight to the source, which
Yeah.
I can live with.
Which, when it comes to film, that's a given.
Yeah. That's usually the problem I have with like movies that take historical events and dramatize them. I like accuracy.
Yeah.
I like in terms of like events and how things played out.
Yeah.
But if it's there for dramatic effect, if it's there just for the sake of being entertaining, I'll let that slide a little bit.
Yeah, and it was just like the fight
just a
scene,
little bit.
so...
It's still a well-acted movie. For the $100 million, it's well spent.
Yeah.
Like, really well spent. You can see where the money went on the screen.
Yeah.
There's many movies I've seen where they took that amount of millions and would just literally set it on fire. I can't even begin to think of an example outside of the obvious I can think of, which is Doolittle from last year.
Oh, I didn't see Doolittle. I heard
Good.
it wasn't
Keep it
good,
that way.
though. Yeah.
It's
Just a shame because I do like Robert Downey Jr., but
yeah.
sometimes...
I feel like that movie was made with the best of intentions, but
Yeah.
then Universal came in and said, "Oh, this is not working. We got to reshoot some stuff and make it modern for the kids."
And then you ruin it by doing that. It's like, or if you just left it alone, it might have been better.
Let me put it this way. You could have had the 68 version where he goes and sees a giant pink sea snail from the Sid Marty Krofft Adventures.
Yeah.
Or...
Very vague memories of that movie. Weren't they like inside of the snail at some point?
They were, because they get to the island, and as payment for helping them restore the island back to where it was originally located, they bring forth the pink sea snail, and the idea is that they're using the sea snail to travel to London, but Doodle stays behind because the judge of London wants him arrested for a wide variety of reasons. Like, he thinks he's crazy and loony and things like that, so he has to stay on the island.
Yeah.
But no, I feel bad this movie isn't doing very well. Not Duel. What am I saying? I don't want to praise a movie where Robert Downey Jr. is doing an enema on a dragon. Yes, that happens.
Okay, then.
I will not discuss it.
Yes, that's a good idea. Because
Ooh,
we're going to eat after this. And
175 million flush.
Well, it could be worse. It could be the scene from Piranha. The scene from
I know.
Piranha.
I know.
We're not going to
I
say
know.
it, but
I know.
for those who have seen Piranha 3D, you probably know what I'm talking about.
So, what are your thoughts on The Last Duel?
It's not something I would watch again. I mean, it wasn't bad, but I did have it just. I feel like it should have just been from her point of view. Like, I get that they were trying to be...
It would have been more interesting.
Yeah,
because
I get that they wanted to do his side, and then her side, but it just was super repetitive, especially when they both turned out to be major douchebags. And it's like, I would have rather just watched the entire movie from her point of view.
I do agree. I feel the point was they wanted to show their sides of the story to kind of build how...
delusional they both are.
Delusional and corrupt and idiotic and stupid.
Yeah.
Because you have these characters, these two historical figures that are built up to be legendary heroes. Well, I shouldn't say heroes. It's a wrong way to put it. People that are built to great expectations, like another King Arthur, for example.
Yes.
And the fact that they're not is really the big twist. The whole idea that these two guys that are remembered for this event they did, and then when you pull back the curtain and say, wait a minute, it's because of this and that and this and that led them to this point.
Yes.
Their own greed and pride have led them to a court case.
Yes.
Over a situation that one of them did, and I thought that was an interesting method of storytelling. But if you're doing an art house film, that is fine. If you're doing a commercial, big budgeted film, this was probably a big risk. I thought it was an interesting method of storytelling, but I do agree it did get repetitive in certain aspects where you saw this scene and that scene again and that scene again, but shot from different angles. I liked it more when it was showing it in a different light, because you could see how it actually happened and things like that.
Yeah.
It's got me curious how you think about Rashomon, because it's not exactly done that way, but the whole idea is that these two samurai warriors meet and something happens, and it's told from different point of views, but the big gimmick is that every scene is different. No matter how it's told, no matter how it's performed, it's different. So when you see what really happens, it's like, oh, wow, these two are complete idiots. So now there's a death sentence on them just because of this one thing. Out of curiosity, how do you feel about Ridley Scott as a director?
He did a good job directing the movie.
It's clearly more of a Matt Damon and Ben Affleck film, and I know there was another writer on there. So it feels like it was more their vehicle, and Ridley Scott was there to make it look good and grand.
Yes.
And he's great at doing stuff like that.
Yes.
So there's a lot of pedigree to it. I think why it's not doing well is really more along the lines of cinematic taste. Because we're living in times where we're trying to slowly get back into the theater.
Yes.
And it's probably best to do it with something more safer. If it's something that's well known, like a superhero movie or James Bond, more often than not, it will probably do well. You have better gamble doing a much smaller budgeted movie than you do with a grand historical epic like this. And I do hope they make more big, grand historical epics, because I miss those kinds of movies.
Yes.
I miss the scope and scale of those kinds of things.
Yes.
And we live in really strange times where one moment you have something like... what's a good example? Something like a Christopher Nolan movie underperforming at the box office, and yet Eli Roth makes a family movie for Amblin Entertainment. That happened.
What movie?
The House with a Clock in Its Walls with Jack Black.
Oh.
It was surprisingly good.
Oh.
Different from the book, but I'd say it was probably for the best given how weird the book was at times.
Yeah, there are some instances where the movie adaptations are better than the books. Cue the tomatoes.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Sorry.
This is why I listen to Metacritic. And others.
Trailers.
Oh, yeah. We got 3.
Yeah, so we, they had the Batman trailer again, which was good.
Yeah, that was nice to see. They had the other one, too. I think it was called Licorice Pizza.
Yes, and then they had,
Oh, the Edgar Wright movie.
Yes.
Was it called No Time in Soho?
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Oh, yeah.
And that's coming out tomorrow, which is the actual day of my birth. Yeah, if it was a day earlier.
That would have been great to see.
Oh, well.
I have no idea what it's about, but it's like, I kind of want to give
Well,
it
there's always next week.
That is true.
Yeah. Hee.
I'll keep my schedule on standby watching. So yeah, this is a tough one to recommend because there are some things to it that I really want to say, go, please see it, check it out. But at the same time, I can see why this will alienate an audience. It's because two dudes wrote a movie about two knights. No, just don't judge it that way. See the movie first, please.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little... Like, once when you get past their perspectives and you get to her perspective, it's actually really entertaining.
Same.
But just be warned, when they do their perspectives, like, the first perspective isn't too bad, and then it just kind of repeats, and then it's like,
it didn't kick up until we saw her perspective.
Yeah.
The only other movie I can think of where it did this angle a little better was The Hateful Eight. And I'm tempted to say Pulp Fiction, but I think a little more closer to Hateful Eight, because you're with those characters for a long time. Oh. It's supposed to be a heart, damn it!
Yeah, and it looked like a boob, so it's a good thing.
No, it looked like a peach. Not like that. It was between peach or apple, and I'm so used to seeing that damn emoji, so I'm sorry.
It's okay. There's nothing wrong with a little graffiti on the window.
Even if it's your own car.
Yeah. In fact, I can reenact the Titanic hand. Okay, that does not look anything like it. Let's try this.
It looks like there's a face right here.
My face! Give me back my face! Audience members must think we're insane. We aren't having sex, I swear. Not in the car, anyway.
So yeah, it's a hard recommendation. I'd say see if you have the chance, but aside from that, give it a rent. I'm gonna be nice and say give it a rent.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
It was well made.
It wasn't Jungle Cruise boring.
It was engaging.
Yes.
It was engaging, but it's gonna really vary on what you're looking for.
Yes.
That's probably the best way to say
Once
it.
when you get by the kinks, it's not bad. And
Yeah.
it had great cinematography, and the acting was really good on everyone's end. Yes. So,
I have no faults there.
Yeah.
So how does steak sound?
it sounds delicious.
It's
Bye.
later.